Hello everyone, my name is Putty and welcome back for another edition of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. We are in a new venue. We are in the Charlotte City Hall, 2,400 capacity, biggest venue we've ever run, a huge show for us here at the Sam Keith Classic in the shadow of the Ace Speedway. The 5,000 capacity venue will be running for where it all begins again. But tonight we have a massive tournament, tag team tournament, the greatest tag team tournament in all of territorial wrestling today. The Sam Keith Classic, the 11th annual edition of the Sam Keith Classic, named after our Lord and Savior, current owner and creator of our great territorial system, Sam Keith. Also legendary technical wrestler. It occurs to me that I haven't mentioned Samuel Keith quite a lot in this series thus far, so thought I'd give you guys a little bit of context if you didn't have it. So, yes, in the last episode, we had come to the conclusion that Huracan and American Elemental were going to be in the tournament, as well as the team of Logan Wolfsbane and Robin DeLay, as well as the Ring Generals, but the fourth team was unnamed. We have now come to the realization on the MAW website mid-month that that fourth and final surprise team is, of course, Ernest Youngman teaming up with Puerto Rican Power, all-star tag team, both former world heavyweight champions in their own right, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and they're going to open up our fair tournament, sparring with the Ring Generals, I believe. So let's get right into the show, shall we? We open things up with a 69 C+ in a sold-out Charlotte City Hall, as Ernest Youngman and the Puerto Rican Power defeat the Ring Generals in 9 minutes and 56 seconds, when Ernest Youngman defeats Marv Statler by pinfall with the hit. We have the power, the aggression of the Puerto Rican Power that really disrupts the usually quite good tag team chemistry of the Ring Generals. They try to isolate people in their corner, try and work them down with Deadly Dean's gritty grappling. But in this match, the power, the aggression, and the momentum of the Puerto Rican Power just disrupts them and allows Ernest Youngman, the greatest grappler in the business today, to really lock on every submission move under the sun, working down all the limbs of both Marv and Dean in this match and picking up the victory here with the hit. A double underhook powerbomb, getting points on the board for the All-Star Tag Team. We move into 64C- as Huracan and American Elemental defeat Logan Wolfsbane and Robin DeLay. The big men just cannot keep up with the little men, and a big thing to note here is that Huracan got the victory over the Mid-Atlantic heavyweight champion, Logan Wolfsbane. Good stuff from everyone involved here, as the fast-paced luchador teaming with the Japanese junior get off the bat, really disrupting the flow of Wolfsbane and DeLay. And what's really important to note here is that Logan Wolfsbane, during his Mid-Atlantic Championship reign, has faced a lot of luchadors, faced a lot of Japanese juniors. In fact, he faced American Elemental himself a couple of months ago. Actually, it was a while back. I think he was actually at Where It All Begins Again last year. And he had no problem with it. Of course, it was a difficult fight, and sometimes it was a very close match. But he picked up the victories, and he's usually not put off his game by fast and fluid professional wrestling. But in tag team ranks, things are often a little different. He's got to rely on Robin DeLay to pull his weight, and he's got to rely on that happening. Otherwise, it's 2-on-1. And indeed, I think both of the big men just couldn't. They didn't click as a tag team in kayfabe. They just didn't get on the same pace, the same wavelength, and in the end, just ended up getting overran by the sheer speed of Huracan and American Elemental. And in the end, it was Logan Wolfsbane left to pay for that fact, getting pinned by the youngster with a Huracan roll, which leaves the table looking something like this, with Youngman and Puerto Rican Power, as well as Huracan and American Elemental picking up the points, and the other two teams on the bottom. I say this every year, but you can't really make any predictions based on the first round, because nothing has really materialized, and really anything could happen. But of course, you're looking at the Ring Generals and Wolfsbane and DeLay with an uphill battle to get back into this tournament. But it's happened. A lot of people have won this tournament while losing in the first round. We head to the interview area where Ernest Youngman and Puerto Rican Power are standing with Sweet Tabitha, and Ernest Youngman gets on the mic and says, "I told you that this year was going to be the year of Ernest Youngman giving back to Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, and I don't mean that necessarily in the nicest way. I'm here to win championships and win titles, and to put my name on Mid-Atlantic Wrestling so that when people see Ernest Youngman carrying that flag across the territories, they know that man is from Mid-Atlantic Wrestling." And you want to talk about that ethos, that ideology of carrying a company as your flag? Look no further than the man who I went to Puerto Rico to slay all those years ago. I know he is personified, idealized as the man of that territory, the Puerto Rican Power, who was almost unbeatable in his home territory for years and years. And even though I went there and I slayed the beast, and he winks at Puerto Rican Power, I still believe him to be one of the most powerful, the most impressive athletes in the territory today, the current Puerto Rican champion down in Freedom Caribbean Wrestling, currently top of the pile again. And I brought him here to assure that Ernest Youngman adds the Sam Keith Classic, the greatest tag team tournament in wrestling today, to his list of accomplishments. And you want to know why, Puerto Rican Power? Puerto Rican Power says, voice crack, wouldn't be complete without it. PRP says, why, Ernest? Because I'm the wrestling machine. I'm the best there's ever been. I'm the assassin of the squared circle, and giants may fall and diamonds may fade, but Ernest Youngman is forever, baby. And tonight, I prove it again. Give me a high five. And he high fives Puerto Rican Power, and the two head to the back. Well, head to the back or to the ring, depending on whether they're up next or not. They head to the ring to defeat. Oh no, they were defeated by Hurricane and American Elemental when American Elemental defeated Ernest Youngman by pinfall with that American Earth Breaker. Ernest Youngman trying to put on those technical moves, trying to slow the match down a bit. Puerto Rican Power, of course, big lad. A dominant force, but tournament play probably doesn't suit him. Tournament play probably isn't the greatest environment for Puerto Rican Power, and indeed, already 2 matches deep into this tournament, he's slowing down, he's on the apron, taking his breath, and that allows the really fast-paced, fluid action of Hurricane and American Elemental to take advantage of Ernest Youngman. Ernest can't set the pace, he can't control the match 2-on-1, fast tags, fast wrestling, and indeed Hurricane and American Elemental are allowed to dominate and pick up the victory over Ernest Youngman in the end, putting themselves really ahead in terms of winning this tournament. And indeed in a 60C, the Ring Generals defeat DeLay and Wolfsbane by in about 10 minutes when Marv Statler defeats Logan Wolfsbane by pinfall with a backbreaker drop. That lack of tag team chemistry is really coming to bite the Team Progress members in the ass here. They're trying to show off their physical prowess, they're trying to use their power and their speed to their advantage, but it's just not enough against the sheer tag team excellence that is the Ring Generals, able to just cut the ring in half and work down the Mid-Atlantic champion and his Team Progress compatriot tonight. Able to work them down, able to beat them down, able to use that deadly Dean Waldorf gritty grappling that we have come to love, and the marvelous Marv Stadler flashy throws, and able to just to get the better of their all-star opponents in this matchup. And in the end, Logan Wolfsbane, the Mid-Atlantic champion, takes another pinfall to marvelous Marv Statler. That's a lot of challengers piling at the gates with only a few months to go before where it all begins again. Which leaves our standings looking like this. Yes, with Hurricane and American Elemental out in front with 4 points. They're taking on the Ring Generals, I think. Yes, they're taking on the Ring Generals in the next round, and if they win against the Ring Generals, then they're going to be champions, which is a big deal for them, huge deal for Hurricane. And American Elemental, remember, is still a young lad himself. Would be a huge coup for them to pick up the tournament win here. For Youngman and Puerto Rican Power, they're pretty much out of the tournament. They can't really win. They'd rely on a lot of things going their way. in order to win the tournament, but they're facing Wolfsbane and Delay and will hope to get 4 points on the board. Wolfsbane and Delay are officially out of the tournament, and the Ring Generals can win the tournament with a victory over Huracan and American Elemental, and also they need Youngman and Puerto Rican Power not to win. Because if the Ring Generals beat Huracan and American Elemental, and then Youngman and Puerto Rican Power beat Wolfsbane and Delay, we'll be on a 3-way tie, which is really complicated to sort out, so yeah, that's how that goes. We head to the interview area, and Island Boy Apollo is back in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, and he gets on the microphone and he says, some of you may have heard the news, but for those of you who haven't, I'm going to be riding down to Florida in a couple of weeks here, and I'm going to be riding off into the sunset. Now, I know a lot of people, and the crowd starts to I don't know if it's boo, but they start to aw and stuff like that. And he says, look, I know a lot of people, they ride off into that sunset without talking to you first. I know they go off without their big send-off, and I don't want to make this an ego thing, but I think I wanted to say goodbye properly. So I'm here saying goodbye properly. When I arrived here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, I was a wee lad. I was the most electrifying I was one half of the most electrifying tag team in all of sports entertainment. And I gotta tell you, I owe Mid-Atlantic Wrestling a lot. Because they have put so many obstacles and so many opportunities in my path. And I've made a career out of proving everybody wrong. I've made a career out of slaying giants and climbing mountains. It's what I say. I'm out here to slay giants, I'm out here to climb mountains, I'm out here to beat the odds, and I'm out here to prove people wrong. And Mid-Atlantic Wrestling has given me every single opportunity I could have hoped for, and I love you guys for that. I said a little while ago that I disagreed with that old adage. That old Greg Gage saying that there's only one championship in the world that makes you number one. I do disagree with that. I think the Mid-Atlantic Championship, when carried by such amazing people as Logan Wolfsbane, or Scythe, or Greg Gage even, can be the greatest championship in the territories. But I tell you what, I can't deny that there is some allure, there is some prestige behind that World's Heavyweight Championship. And I gotta tell you, when I got that call from Florida to head down there and ride off into the sunset, I can't lie, there was a part of me that said, I can't go without that heavyweight championship under my belt, under my list. I can't do it. I've been here too long and I've been here too much to say that I was never the heavyweight champion of the world. And I've been told week in and week out, sometimes by people that I'm not world's heavyweight champion material. And I tell you, I've been in every single territory this country has to offer, and in every single one, I've been the best. So if people want to tell me that I'm not world's heavyweight champion material, I want to prove them wrong. And that's when I thought that if there was one place in the world that I wanted to win the heavyweight championship, it was right here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. Now I tell you, I hear you're having a show on Tuesday. I hear you're having a show right here in Charlotte City Hall on Tuesday. It's the battle for the Mid-Atlantic, and I plea out to you, George Wolf. I plea out to you. One more, my friend. We were around for a lot of the same time. Our careers had parallel lines, and I respect you a lot. And there's only one man I'd like to end my Mid-Atlantic career against. So my plea goes out to you. Do me the favors, George. Me, you, Tuesday night, right here in front of all these beautiful people for that gold, the greatest gold in the business. Let's do it. Island Boy Apollo only has one match left in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, and it's going to be for the World's Championship. It's going to be on Tuesday night. It's going to be against George Wolf. Big match, but big matches left tonight as we move on to the final round of the Sam Keith Classic. And indeed, the Ring Generals stop Huracan and American Elemental from guaranteeing their place in the at the top of the pedestal, at the top of the stand at Wembley, lifting the trophy that is the Sam Keith Classic. The Ring Generals defeat Huracan in American Elemental when Deadly Dean Waldorf grinds out American Elemental. You know, the fluid, fast style of those two gotta get slower as the night goes on. It's something we have seen year after year after year, that the fast competitors always struggle in the third round because you have been wrestling for... It's at least half an hour by the end of the night, probably closer to 40 minutes, and it's gotta take its toll. You know, you don't see a lot of singles matches in MAW going 40 minutes, and tonight they did slow down, and it allowed Deadly Dean, who doesn't really have a style that tires him out that much. Dean's pretty slow-paced on this stuff, and he definitely thrives in this environment of bottom of the ninth, able to just keep going with that slow style. Doesn't need to head to the top rope, doesn't need to hit the ropes every 5 seconds to be effective. No flips, just holds. That's Deadly Dean for you, and he grinds out a victory, defeating American Elemental, and the Ring Generals are in prime position to win the cup. All it takes is for this match to not end in an Ernest Youngman and Puerto Rican Power victory. That's all it would take, and if Ernest Youngman and Puerto Rican Power win, then we're going to have some complications. But if they draw or lose, Ring Generals are champions. Oh, well, in a good match, Ernest Youngman and the Puerto Rican Power defeat Logan Wolfsbane and Robin DeLay when Ernest defeats Logan with the hit. I mean, we saw this match in singles earlier this year, and Ernest Youngman was very impressive against Logan Wolfsbane. Tonight, Logan's having a ton of problems. He's having a ton of problems clicking with Robin DeLay in tag team action, and indeed, Ernest Youngman is able to exploit that. Also able to exploit two big men. You know, Puerto Rican Power's kind of got his momentum back for this match, but he can just sit back and watch his wonderful tag team partner do a lot of work. Because Logan Wolfsbane and Robin DeLay are tiring. They're big men, and even though they haven't done a lot of wrestling tonight because they've been off their kilter, off the same wavelength, they're still tired, and indeed they really struggle in this match for sure, and Ernest Youngman is able to take advantage of that, and a third pin to the Mid-Atlantic champion Logan Wolfsbane as Ernest Youngman picks up the victory. Logan Wolfsbane's got 3 challengers coming out of this tournament. That's not a good look at all. But ladies and gentlemen, we have complications because it is a 3-way tie, and there is no way to settle it under usual rules. Of course, we usually do head-to-head record, but Youngman and Puerto Rican Power have a victory over the Ring Generals. The Generals have a victory over Huracan and American Elemental, and Huracan and American Elemental have a victory over Youngman and Puerto Rican Power. So there is no way to settle this tie except in the only way we know how: more wrestling. So indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our main event of the evening, as the 3 teams tied on 4 points go head to head to head in a main event. And even if the game says it's elimination, it is one fall to the finish. It is for the Sam Keith Classic Trophy. And God, we have never had as close a tournament as we have this time. 3 teams at the peak of their powers, young and hungry: American Elemental and Huracan, star-studded Ernest Youngman and Puerto Rican Power, and the greatest tag team in the territorial history, the Ring Generals. Who comes out with the trophy? It is, of course, Youngman and Puerto Rican Power, who do defeat everyone. Wait a minute. Here. I guess I'll just delete this sentence. Fuck it. Yep, they end up picking up the victory. Definitely with Huracan and American Elemental, they were just slow. They're tired. It's been a long night, and indeed this match goes on for a very long time, and they're unable to keep up their breakneck pace. They're unable to keep up their momentum and their aggression and their high-flying action that usually gets them places. And the Ring Generals, you know, Marv is tired. Marv has that faster paced style. And so it eventually comes down to, although there is a lot of chaos during this match, it's a long match, it does come down to the grapple-off of Dean Waldorf and Ernest Youngman. And Ernest Youngman proves once again, as he has his entire career, that he is one of the greatest grapplers in history. And with a smile to the crowd and a wink to the front row, Ernest Youngman locks on every single technical maneuver you can think of, working over every single limb of all 4 of his opponents in this match, and in the end picks up a victory with that crossface chicken wing on Dean Waldorf, winning him the Sam Keith Classic Championship. And also Puerto Rican Power. You can't forget about Puerto Rican Power. So, there's that. Good stuff from everyone involved. This was a good show. I'm really happy with how it went. I hope you guys are too. If you did enjoy, leave a like. Check out the rest of the series. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're feeling especially generous, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. If you want to hear me ramble, there's a link to my Twitter in the description. And that's about it. We've got Battle for the Mid-Atlantic on Tuesday. Fastest turnaround we've ever had for a show here in MAW, at least during my time at the helm. A main event of the evening, George Wolf takes on Island Boy Apollo for the World Heavyweight Championship. That is currently held by George Wolf. Also for the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Championship, we are actually going to have... Indeed, we have a match for the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Championship, and it's going to be Logan Wolfsbane taking on Huracan, as it is announced very shortly after this, that all three men who pinned Logan Wolfsbane are going to get title shots. Huracan at Battle for the Mid-Atlantic, Marvelous Marv Stadler at The Clash, and Ernest Youngman at Proving Ground. And of course, we're skipping the Where It All Begins Again, because the person getting a title shot at Where It All Begins Again is the man who wins Battle for the Mid-Atlantic. So, with that said, let's go marching on to the final show of our boy Island Boy Apollo, who I know has had mixed reactions in the comments. I've seen the mixed reaction, but I've loved booking him. I love the guy. I wish nothing but the best, and we get to say goodbye to him, either whether that's a happy or a sad goodbye. We get to say goodbye to him on Tuesday. Please join me then. It's probably not Tuesday in real life. It's Tuesday tomorrow. It's tomorrow in real life. Tuesday in the game. I will see you guys then. Have a good one.